Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, December 4th, 2023, and this is a meeting of the Licensing Board of the City of West Bend. We do recognize the quorum of the Licensing Board tonight, and all we have to do tonight is approve some meeting minutes. We have meeting minutes listed on our agenda, items 1 through 7.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second by Alderman Butchlick and Alderman Zingsheim. Any comments, questions, corrections? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That's all we have for Licensing Board tonight, so I will adjourn.
I would like to call to order the Board of Public Works. We have 8 items on the agenda. We have approval of the minutes. There are 5 regular approval. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Alderman Allen, and second? Oh,
Second,
Alderman
sorry. Sorry, John.
Zingsheim. Okay,
Yep.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, award contract 2309, tree surety. Good evening, Rick.
John, thank you. Good evening. Tonight, Parks, Recreation, and Forestry requests award of contract 2309, the 2024 tree surety contract. The contract includes planting of 273 trees as the base bid. That includes 115 street tree plantings through the free tree program, approximately 43 trees in Regner Park, 44 trees on the Riverwalk phases 2 and 3. The contract also has 2 alternate bids allowing for additional watering past the base bid requirements, and an alternate bid to hand dig holes if there are utility conflicts. I should add the base bid does include 12 weeks of watering as well as an 18-month warranty. We received 1 bid. The bid was opened November 29th. Dan Larson Landscaping provided a bid. Their base bid was $78,559. The alternate bid to hand dig holes, $20 each, as well as the alternate bid for extra watering cycles at $900 per cycle. We recommend awarding the contract to Dan Larson Landscaping. The total amount of the contract, if we were to pay out all of the alternates, would be $92,459. We had originally budgeted $98,070 for the total contract, so the bid is several thousand below our budget. We've had a long and successful history working with Dan Larson over the past 10 years or so. They're very qualified and have done an excellent job for us. The project will be funded from 4 sources. The tree surety portion for new homes new developments is funded from a holding account that currently has a balance of $21,936. However, we will be spending from that account $4,903. We will also be using funds from the Emerald Ash Borer Response and Free Street Tree Program, paid for out of capital monies designated for 2023 and 2024. We'll also use money from a forestry grant fund and an account that is a combination of donations, firewood sales, and carryover from 2023, approximately $21,000. Is there any questions?
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Alderman
Second.
Allen and Alderman Model. Any questions for Rick? There are no questions for Rick. I have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Rick. Item number 7, award contract 2-2023 GAC Treatment Facility. Good evening, Travis.
Good evening. Tonight I'm seeking permission to award a construction contract 2-2023 for a treatment plant on North Main Street. The urgency of this matter arises from the previous discovery. Approximately a year and a half ago, elevated levels of PFAS at our well 4 surpassed the EPA/DNR maximum contaminant level. We immediately shut down the well and initiated the process of devising a solution to restore the water quality at that well. Well 4, dating back to 1930s, is a critical asset in a depth over 300 feet, capacity of about 1,500 gallons a minute, and given the unique characteristics, finding a comparable aquifer within the city is highly improbable. The three available filtration methods for PFAS include granular activated carbon, ion exchange, and reverse osmosis, which GSC is the sole method of removing both VOCs and the PFAS. The current method of air stripping effectively addresses VOCs, but falls short of tackling our PFAS at this well. The proposed treatment plant will replace the existing air stripping towers with granular activated carbon vessels. The plan entails preserving the current building and reservoir while constructing a new facility to the south. The new building will feature a light gray split-face block on the lower half, dark gray siding on the upper portion, a raised blue accent panel on the southwest corner with black frame windows. Our aim is to ensure that the new building blends seamlessly in the neighborhood, and we intend to paint the existing structure to match the new one. Upon opening the bids on November 8th, we discovered that all 3 bids exceeded our pre-estimated bid of $5.353 million. A thorough review acknowledged we underestimated the excavation and shoring segments, compounded by ongoing volatility of construction material costs. Following evaluations of the bid and qualifications, Strand Associates recommended low bidder Mid-City Corporation as the most suitable contractor for this project. In light of this, we propose awarding contract 2-2023 amounting to $6,384,300 to Mid-City Corporation. Water utility funds will be utilized in this project, and the potential principal forgiveness from the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program may further support financial aspects of this project. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to attempt to answer them.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Motion to approve.
Alderman Allen
Second.
and Alderman Model. Okay, and you have a question, Alderman Model.
Yeah, just a real quick one here. It looks like the first and second bids were pretty close. Mid-City seems familiar, so I have a feeling we've worked with them before. Have we looked into Hunzinger? And I assume you've done all the research. And can you explain a little bit about who's better and why?
They're all well-qualified companies. We're
Okay.
actually working with the Mike Hanings right now on our one project.
Okay.
Hunzinger, Mid-City's been around for a long time. They're all 3 well-qualified. It just basically comes down to who's given the best price.
Okay.
Whoever would have gave the lowest price, we would have went with. All 3 are that
Okay,
qualified.
great. Thanks,
Any
Jeff.
other questions? There are none. We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank
you.
you, Travis. Item number 8, award contract for municipal services 2024 to 2026. Good evening, Max. Good
Good
to see your
evening.
smiling
Thank you.
face this evening.
Thank you. This item is to present the new municipal engineering services contract. Since the engineering department was restructured in 2013, we hired Concord Engineering Group to provide municipal engineering services. And every few years, we would either extend the contract or go out for another RFP to gauge interest from other consulting firms. And their contract comes to an end at the end of this month. And we published an RFP earlier this year. We received only one proposal, which is from Council Engineering Group. And they drafted a contract based on the information in the RFQ and discussion with staff. And that contract is attached to the memo, and we recommend that the board and council approve the contract for municipal services. It will be a 3-year contract with an option for an extension for a couple more years after that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Alderman Model? Motion first?
Yep, motion to approve.
Okay, and then Alderman
Second,
Allen.
yep.
Okay, I'm going to be asking because the clerk sometimes doesn't get the name, and neither do I, so
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
why I'm making sure.
Sure.
All right, okay, we have a motion. Any questions for Max? Yes, Alderman
I do
Mahler.
have a quick question, if you don't mind. Oh, hang on a minute. Now I lost track of what it was. Oh, yeah, you put out an RFP looking for specific things. Was there anything different from the previous contract? And were they able to meet those? I assume so.
Yes, there are several things. Over the years, when we extended the contract or put out an RFP for new contracts, obviously there are changes in our operations, and this year is no different. In the past couple of years, we received a lot of street opening permit applications for utilities that are doing citywide restructuring of their existing utilities or creating a brand new network citywide. And those are tasks that are very consuming to review those permits. We had a technician who was doing this, he left. So now we're trying to switch that to Council Engineering Group. There are some items that we have to accomplish under our DNR issued MS4 permit. We have to do more inspections, we have to meet more goals with that permit, and so when we have those new tasks, we add that. So we have some things that are different. There are some things that we're going to do also for traffic. I used to do a lot of the reviews, or else we would hire a consultant to do review for questions or requests from the public on traffic issues. Instead of going through the RFP process every time, we're going to be able to have Council Engineering address all these directly. So that will, again, gain us some efficiencies on getting results for that. So yes, there are several things that are different. Most of it is the same. We just added some tasks to the new contract.
Do you feel like there would be a benefit or a deficit to going back to having our own engineering, full on engineering department?
It's hard to say. Obviously, there's some value to having in-house employees. There's a different dynamic. I don't necessarily dislike the mix of having in-house employees and a consultant. Unfortunately, at this time, the in-house employees are a very reduced number.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I think it worked well with having another engineer and a technician, in addition to the Council Engineering Group team. But, we'll work with what we have.
Sure.
And
I didn't mean to
we'll-
put you on the spot there. Sorry. Just a question. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Max. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Yes, Alderman Sterling.
Given that we've only received one response, are you comfortable with the rates that they've provided? I'm sure that from a historical standpoint, they're in line with what they've been charging us in the past for services rendered. Do you have any concerns about their rate structure over the course of the next 3 years relative to what the marketplace looks like?
No, I do not. So with this contract, when we put together the list of tasks, what we did is we tried to estimate the amount of hours based on past invoices over the past 10 years. And then we figured out, based on not only the invoices that we were getting from Council Engineering for their services in-house, but also from consultants doing other work for us on other projects, DOT projects or contracts, city contracts. And we came up with an estimate of what that contract would be. And actually, Concord Engineering proposal came under that estimate. So to answer your question, yes, I feel comfortable with the rates.
Great, thank you, Max.
Any other questions? There are none. We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Being no further business before the Board of Public Works, I adjourn as chair. Okay. I would like to call the order the Finance Committee. There are 12 items on the agenda. Items number 1 through 9, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Alderman Allen and Alderman Model. All those, any questions or corrections? There are none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 10, a resolution accepting donations to the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, John, and good evening, Council. This evening, we have 5 very impressive donations to present to the community. The first donation is an $8,000 donation by the Friends of West Bend Parks and Recreation. This is for the purchase of some inflatables for the Regner Park Swim Pond. We talk about inflatables, we're talking about a blow-up obstacle course, some slides, some platforms for people to jump off of, things like that. The Village of Kewaskum purchased these inflatables in 2017. They used them for 2 years. Their pond shut down because of COVID, like everyone else's did. Their pond will not reopen ever again, not in the fashion that they did or what they had in the past. So these inflatables are basically sitting in storage on their shelves. We knew they were out there. We contacted them. They've been a great partner through this process. Kewaskum's really being a good neighbor to us. We went up there. They blew them all up for us. We inspected them. They're in great shape. They did a great job storing them. Purchase these inflatables new would be about $17,000 to $19,000. So what we're trying to do is we're going to change the swim pond a little bit. The diving raft, we're just going to move that to the south a little bit. We have a diving well down to 14 feet on that end on the west end for the raft itself. We'll put these inflatables with the diving raft over that diving well. So we're not going to change. I mean, the rest of the pond's going to stay the same and all that stuff. What we're trying to do is improve the experience in Regner Park. Instead of having the same pond we've had since 1939, we're trying to put some new amenities in that pond. Hopefully we can increase our attendance. Hopefully and for the use of these inflatables, we will charge more for that. So what we're trying to do is provide the community with a better experience in the park, give the families and the kids and everyone else something new to play with, have fun with in the swim pond. And we want to generate some revenues to offset some of our operational costs with the swim pond. The lifeguard program's not a cheap program, needed and very successful. We're just trying to generate some revenues for that. So with that $8,000 donation comes, basically the second donation goes with it. Friends of Parks and Recreation are donating $1,000 to support or to help us purchase life jackets for those inflatables. Life jackets will be mandatory for anyone who are using those devices, things like that. We'll still run everyone through swim tests and everything else like that before they get a life jacket and get out there and all that stuff. But again, Kewaskum's been a great neighbor, great partner. Thank you to the West Bend Friends of Parks and Recreation for supporting our operational needs and supporting Regner Park. With those 2 donations, $8,000 for the inflatables and $1,000 for the life jackets. The third donation for this evening is $180 provided by the West Bend Disc Golf Club for improvements to the Riverside Park Disc Golf Course. The next donation of $500 was made by various citizens for the All Abilities Playground. And the 5th donation this evening is a sculpture donated by the West Bend Friends of Sculpture. The sculpture is valued at $15,000. This is the Highland Breeze, which would be placed in the circle at the north end of North Main Street downtown. So figured, the north end down there, we get that small little turnaround. During the construction of North Main Street, Max and Council Engineering worked well with us in the sculpture group and Roots and Branches on that island. The gravel base and all the support, everything we need underground for the sculpture was done. That work was done when the road construction was done. So that's where this would be placed. The sculpture committee is very excited about getting this item placed down there. Again, these projects and these donations are also supported by our Park and Recreation Commission. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Alderman Allen
Second.
and Alderman Zingstein. Any questions for, go ahead, Alderman Allen?
Is the plan to get the sculpture in place this winter or waiting for spring?
They're hoping this winter. Yep, they're hoping this winter. Yep. Should be a pretty quick installation. Yep.
All right, any other questions? There are none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Item number 11, resolution accepting a donation from Rayburn A. Frank. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening. I come before you with two great examples of our philosophy that the West Bend Police Department does not police West Bend, we police with West Bend. Our first donation was from, as you said, Mr. Rayburn Frank. This is his second year of doing this. Not only is he supporting the police department in our community, but also local businesses. Mr. Frank went out, purchased $750 of gift cards from our local area businesses and donated them to the police department to be used to help families in need. As we did last year, we utilized these gift cards actually tonight at the Shop with a Cop event that's occurring as we speak at West Bend Mutual. I was at the event before coming here before you tonight. Can tell you that there's a lot of happy kids and a lot of happy parents that will be using our local businesses thanks to Mr. Frank. So I ask that you actually really no fiscal fiscal action needed, just asking you to acknowledge Mr. Frank and allow us to accept that donation and pass through to the Fraternal Order of Police who run our Shop with a Cop.
Motion to approve with the council's thanks.
Okay, and Alderman Allen and Alderman Spart second. Any questions for the chief? There are none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We have number 12, resolution accepting a donation from Mary Bartol.
Yep. Also, another citizen who, this is not her first donation to the police department, Mrs. Bartol, on an near annual basis, perhaps even more, has stopped at the police department on November 28th, donated $100, asked that we use it towards crime prevention. So I'm asking you allow us to accept the $100 and move it to our crime prevention account.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Alderman Model first, second, Alderman Allen. Any questions for Chief? There are none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chief, and thank you to all of the donations out there. That's what makes West Bend a great place to live. There are a lot of people coming to West Bend, and this is a perfect example of that. Everybody's willing to give and help those that are in need. Being no further business before the Finance Committee, as Chair, I adjourn.
Thank you. Again, it is Monday, December 4th, 2023. This is a meeting of the Common Council of the City of West Bend. More than 24 hours in advance of this meeting, notice of the time, place, date, and subject matter of the meeting was posted in accordance to Wisconsin state statutes. I'd like to ask Lisa if our meeting was properly posted.
I confirm.
Great, thank you. I invite you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We recognize a quorum of our council tonight with Alderman Dolnick feeling a little bit under the weather, so he is unable to join us tonight. Items of business to start with tonight. We have approval of items number 1 through 9, which are Common Council regular meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Model and Alderman Allen. Are there any comments, questions, discussions, corrections? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Our consent agenda items are items 10 through 15, which were just taken up in committees. Any comments, questions, any?
Motion to approve the consent
Second.
agenda.
Thank you, Alderman Allen. Thank you, Alderman Model. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Our first item of action under action items, number 16, is appointment of our city clerk, and I'm going to ask Administrator Shambo to kick this off.
This is an exciting time for us, for the city of West Bend, and for Jolene joining our team. So I'm excited to introduce you to Jolene Dobratz and hopeful that the council will agree with the appointment this evening to fill the vacancy within our city clerk's office. Maybe just a brief, and it was brief, thankfully, the vacancy period that we had before recommending the appointment of Jolene. We did go out for advertisement for city clerk candidates, and we're fortunate that Jolene has applied. We had an interview team consisting of Mark Allen, the mayor, myself, and Jess Wilds, who will be the direct supervisor over this position and over Jolene. Interviewed very well. We had a police department do a background check like we always do for positions of department head status, and that came back in a very positive manner. So thanks Chief and his team for doing that background check for us. And again, just great excitement, really important hire for the city of West Bend, one that we're fortunate that we have a city resident who lives just a few blocks away, and really excited for Jolene to join our team. So I guess I'll answer any questions that you might have. Jess is prepared to.
Time have been in municipal clerk's offices, first as a deputy clerk and then on to being a village clerk for 5 years. So I've facilitated many elections, more than I struggled to count tonight, and I can't keep track of how many, so very well versed with all the elections, as well as Badger books, as I have been working with those for the last over 5 years, so lots of experience there. I'm double certified, so I have my highest credentials that I can as a clerk. Very, very proud of that. I believe fully in education and teamwork and getting our department up to speed. Thank you.
I think it's because of your credentials and your experience and your great personality that you rose to the top of our applicants, and we're excited to have you here, and we're quite frankly lucky to have you here. So congratulations, welcome to the city of West Bend. We all look forward to getting to know you better throughout the winter months here leading into the big election coming up in April. So again, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for choosing West Bend.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Mike Yench, if you'd like to come up next, we're going to talk about an ordinance change to park hours.
Congratulations. Thank you. This evening, we have a proposed ordinance change for the council to review in an effort to provide additional parking in the downtown and surrounding areas in our downtown. Our department is requesting an ordinance change for the new Riverwalk parking lot along Washington Street. There was a map included in your agenda this evening. The department is requesting that this new parking lot be available to public access 24 hours a day. The new parking rules would align with all other parking lots, all other public parking lots that are open 24 hours a day. It'd be 24-hour parking. After 24 hours, you'd have to move your vehicle 75 feet. This proposed ordinance change has been reviewed and supported by the Park Recreation Commission and also by the Police Department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion approved.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Model. I'll give that second to Alderman Sparts. Any comments, questions? Go ahead, Alderman Model.
Does this require a second reading? Do we have to do this in stages like?
No,
so
I
many-
mean, if it's unanimous, it's not
Okay.
required to do, correct.
Okay, good question. Any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ordinance has been changed.
Thank you.
Mike. I think Doug Newman's coming up next to talk about shared ride taxi agreements and the shared ride taxi operation. Thanks, Doug.
Good evening. So the next two agenda items kind of go hand in hand. The first item is seeking approval for the 2024 shared ride taxi agreements, which provides service to the residents of the city and the lease agreements for the vehicles that the city owns. You can see that in your packet, the 2024 rate of $34.29 an hour. That's an increase from $33.07 from last year, or 2023's. With our total service contract of $1.258 million for 2024. Are there any questions on the agreement or the leases?
Motion to approve.
Alderman Butchlick, did you have a question?
Yeah, are you able to find drivers?
Well, the drivers don't work for the city, they work for the provider.
Oh, that's right, Right-Way. Okay, never mind. I need to ask Right-Way that question. Okay.
Okay,
I haven't heard of a problem with the drivers.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
go ahead, Alderman.
and I guess it's just probably maybe doesn't apply either, but is there any way of us, recently the county's kind of dropped the ball on getting people back and forth to Milwaukee. Is there any way for us to pick that up?
Unfortunately, there's very strict guidelines with the Federal Transit Authority that you can't duplicate services.
They don't have the service anymore.
Well, they provide county-to-county service, so they do go outside of their county. They do have they started as a trial service, but they're continuing that service, so they'll be considered a duplicate service.
Gotcha. Just a thought.
If that answers the question. They
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
pick somebody up in our city and drop them off in our city either. That's considered a duplicate of
Sure,
services.
sure.
It all comes down to federal funding.
Yeah.
Good question.
That makes sense.
Yes, Bartz.
As far as the contract from last year to this year, is there anything changing as far as the services go?
There's no change in service. The increase, as it mentions in the memo, is based off of CPI. Again, that's a Federal Transit Authority guideline that we don't have any negotiation in that. So we're fortunate that it was 3.7 this year. Last year was much higher.
I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Allen and Alderman Model. Any more comments, questions? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And we do need to have another motion on the city shared ride taxi operation. Doug, did you have any more presentation on that?
Well, we're just seeking approval for the taxi service itself, which also is seeking approval to apply for the grant. You can see in your memo, it's about $751,000 that we receive in grant funding to offset the cost.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Model. Alderman Allen, any comments, questions?
Have we ever not gotten that grant?
No.
Good question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Doug. We'll move on to our reports tonight. Our airport commission met on November 2nd. Alderman Sparts.
We did meet on November 2nd, and I didn't bring my notes with me. So I will make a short report. We met. The runway project is completed. They are working on the plan yet. We're still waiting for approval from the airport, and that's where we're at, pretty much.
Great. I asked Administrator Shambo a couple of weeks ago if any of us wanted to go out and see the project, because it's Obviously, it's an airport, you can't just walk out there, and of course, he said that could certainly be arranged. And so if anybody would like to go out there someday and take a ride out there, give Jay a call. And I haven't done it myself yet, I still need to do that, but I'd love to see it. So same with everybody here. Great, thank you. Parks and Rec Commission met November 16th. That's
me.
Alderman Model, thanks.
Yes, like you said, that did happen November 16th at 6:30 p.m. We approved the minutes and moved on to new business that involved an Eagle Scout named Brody, and he is setting up a hammock station at Riverside Park. We did approve that. We talked about the parking hours that we just approved the change for. Rental fees at Lac La Ronde Conservancy were discussed and approved. And we also discussed the sculpture donation and placement that we already discussed this evening. And yes, they did. I'm on the Friends of Sculpture board, and we're definitely planning on trying to get that in there ASAP. And it, like he said, it shouldn't be a real involved installation. And just a shout out again to the Friends of Sculpture. They do this all at no cost to the city. The sculpture itself was $15,000, but the installation, we pay for that too, you know, and that can be almost as much as the sculpture sometimes. So shout out to them. And then we had reports, and that was it.
Great, thank you. Alderman Berquist, Library Board meeting on November 21st.
Great. Thank you, sir. And thank you to everybody sitting here listening to our reports tonight, including those people on community cable, which are, you know who you are, so thank you. The last meeting of the Library Board was held on the 14th of November. Vice President Karen Wachholz presided over the meeting because President Deb Bartnikowski was on a well-deserved vacation. Following the call to order, we approved the consent agenda, which consisted of the minutes for the October 17th meeting and the October library expenditures. Next, the financial reports were given, including several donations to the library from organizations like the Optimist Club, the Early Riser Kiwanis, the Benevolent Corporation of Cedar Community, Mr. and Mrs. Cahill, and a donation in memory of Mary Zicker. Thank you very much for those donations. The library director's report included information from Assistant Director Brad Nye concerning some statistics that were kind of important. Door counts, a way of gauging library usage, counts the number of people coming in the building. There's actually a device that picks up each person coming into the building. And last month we had over 18,000 people come into the building itself, which is cool because that adds to the total for the year of 174,000 people who actually come in. So, wow, that's quite a few people. That's year to date. Circulations is another measure of library usage. Today we stand at 348,000 for the year, and we are on track to exceed last year's total of 404,000. So that's good. Plus, you know, everyone who comes in needs to have a library card to check out items from the library. So we picked up another 22, or in fact, we have 2,244 people that have gotten new cards this year, including yours truly. You guys have yours?
Mine's not as good as yours.
Yeah, well, it's brand new. Okay, so thanks to Brad Nye for all those important numbers. Library Director Steve Theory added that the increase in library usage can be directly attributed to programming, which also includes the use of the rec center located in the lower level. We have a newly designed web page for the library, more social media presence, and staff networking to showcase exactly what's happening in the library. One such event was actually last Saturday. The mayor knows firsthand. So if you checked out the mayor's Facebook Live post, you would have seen him at the youth farmers market that was being held at the library. And that's just one of the events that's been happening lately, and part of the social media presence, which is a real good tool to use. The only agenda item for consideration was the list of board meeting dates and the library close dates for 2024. That list was approved, and the next meeting of the library board is scheduled for the 16th of January, 2024.
All right.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. That was my first and probably last Facebook Live. I'm certainly not good at it, but I couldn't resist because it was such a neat event, that Youth Farmers Market. So thank you. We do have an item that's appropriate for closed session tonight, and before I read our statute, just want to tell the public we will not have any action coming out of our closed session tonight, so we're going to adjourn our Common Council meeting from closed session. Our closed session statute is entertaining a motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.851E, which is deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, namely possible fire department land purchase.
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Model.
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Allen. This requires a roll call vote. Alderman Zingsheim.
Aye.
Alderman Sparts.
Aye.
Alderman Model.
Aye.
Alderman Butchlick.
Aye.
Alderman Sternig.
Aye.
Alderman Allen.
Aye.
Alderman Berquist.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We are now adjourned into closed session.